ਦੇਸ਼ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੀਟੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੋਸਟ ਗੁਰਮੀਤ ਸੋਢੀ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਖਾਸ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾਵਾਂਗੇ who's really making a difference not just in our children's lives but in everyone else around him who looks at him, really raises an eyebrows and says, really? So, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, when we think about Spider-Man, we think about Superman, we think about all these heroes ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਲਾਈਫ ਅੰਦਰ, when we were growing up, we looked up to them as somebody who can make a difference to the world. That's right. That's what heroes do. And that's what superheroes do. ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਅੰਦਰ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ who's their favorite superhero, usually Captain America is the first one that comes to their mouth. Of course, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ Captain America ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋ, you're thinking blonde hair, blue eyes, and a typical American looking guy. But have you ever wondered what Captain America would look like ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖ ਦਾ ਰੂਪ ਦਈਏ, ਪਗੜੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਦਾੜੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, and we look at him and a little bit off than Captain America, but nonetheless a Captain America. That's right. I'm talking about a gentleman who's creating waves in America and around the world as the Sikh Captain America. ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਜੀਤ, how are you?
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਗੁਰਮੀਤ, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So here you are, our Captain America. Okay? So when I say that in itself, it gives me a pride and a joy ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ, because that's how people have come to know you. And ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ viewers ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, Vishvajit is not only just being representing everyone as himself and us as Captain America, he's also a cartoonist. Let's talk about that first, because you are actually coming Sikhtoons, which is your baby. Okay,
yep,
you launched it a couple of years ago. I still remember when you launched it a couple of years ago. You know, we all try कि ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ introduce ਜਦੋਂ ਕਰਨ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, we try to do it little differently, ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ, ਇੱਕ subtle message ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, okay? ਔਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, we take our pen and paper down to get our message across to somebody. You did exactly that, but in a very entertaining and different style. While growing up, as you can, you know, doctor, lawyer, a professional, cartoonist,
yeah.
And I don't think so. So tell me, how did this come about? How did Sikhtoons come about?
So Sikhtoons is actually, it came in the aftermath of 9/11, and I was living in New York State, a little bit north of the city. Mm-hmm. And life changed for a lot of people, including Sikhs, more so for us. So I felt the heat quite a bit. I worked from home. I'm in IT, so I was able to work from home. And then when I did step out, it was hard, as many people know. ਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਹਫ਼ਤਿਆਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ, ਹੇਟ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੇਵ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ 9/11 ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ, the first victim happened to be a Sikh man, Balbir Sodhi in Arizona. That became big news, and I had a lot of friends who were also harassed off the roads, pulled out of trains. ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ to get news. And I remember cartoonists were responding. Cartoonists ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਖਬਾਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਕਾਰਟੂਨ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, a lot of them were responding to 9/11. And a few of them had sketched a few Sikh characters because unfortunately Sikhਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਹਮਲੇ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ. So there's one guy, Mark Fury, he's based out of San Francisco. He created this beautiful animation cartoon in response to the hate crimes. ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ, Muslims, Hispanics, I mean anybody who just looked brown, could have been even Hindu or Christian, they were getting attacked. So he created a beautiful cartoon, had a Sikh Surup character in there, Dadi, Pagdi, and he just captured my sort of predicament. I saw it, I said, oh my God, this is incredible. I mean, he doesn't know me like in meri situation when I represent karti hai cartoon de vich. It took a few weeks and months, but basically I realized, inhe to chalo cartoon banata hai, but he's not going to make any more Sikh cartoons, right? I mean, he just responded to a situation. But why is nobody else sort of creating cartoons about Sikhs all the time? So I'm like, well, je hor koi nahi kar rahe, I'll start doing it. So that's how I got started. November 2002 is when I actually created Sikhtoons, sort of as a home for, okay, man, every week I'm going to go to Google, try to find articles either that inspire me or piss me off, and then I said, okay, main cartoon banane hain. And that's what's been going on, and it just, it's received very well. I hear from people from all over the world, Australia to India to UK to Canada, US, everywhere.
But ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, another thing I've noticed, Vishvajit, that ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ cartoons ਹੈਗੇ ਸਿਰਫ American community या non-Indian community नहीं देख रही. You're getting, just response सिर्फ अपनी community दे विच नहीं. You're getting a huge following outside of non-Indian community. There are people looking at this and for good or for bad, you're getting that following.
It is, and it took some time. I mean, I think it just, I mean, as I started creating cartoons, initially my base, pretty much fan base, was within our community around the globe. But as I started responding to a lot of news here in the US or even in Canada, and I started reaching out to news outlets, to magazines, to professors. And then, after a while, I mean, people just started approaching me saying, hey, this is interesting. Nobody else is doing this. Can we publish this in our outlet? Or I had a lot of professors calling me saying, hey, I'm publishing a book. I'd like to actually use one of your cartoons. And it kind of took off from there. And then, of course, we'll get to sort of the Captain America bit that comes on, and it's just been...
That has just taken off.
Yeah, it's opened many doors, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. God bless for that. But when cartoons banana, books, the books, you've also launched books on Sikhtoons. I remember the first one that you had launched. It was beautifully done. Yeah. Very nicely done. Usde naal hi, you also have a full-time job.
Yeah.
Eh toda sirf main bread and butter is not just this, but it seems like it. So how do you juggle between from IT, full-time IT, and this? How do you juggle between the two?
Yeah, so it's a challenge, and I did grow up in a family jathe I was told, doctor, engineer, and that kind of steered me. Unfortunately, that's what I did. Engineering padhni hai, doctory padhni hai, and at the end, I ended up doing engineering. And then I discovered passion for cartooning really late. I mean, I was almost 30 when I started cartooning, so it was late, but it was a passion, right? It's like my pyar. So I manage somehow. Rata, weekends, that's all I do. Cartoons, writing. It's tough, but I am sort of trying to transition actually, which is the amazing thing about a place like US. You can transition into anything you want to do at any time. So it's not an odd thing here. So as an American, when I tell people, hey, this is what I do by daytime, but I want to become a full-time artist, they're like, oh, that's great, go for it. So that's the American spirit, and I'm hoping, in the near future I'll be able to do it. But somehow, I mean, it just keeps me very busy, and I love doing it.
You love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Usen Hali, I know ki Sikhtoons is one thing, doing your IT thing is another. When Sikhtoons did through, you became a face, okay, in the community. Captain America did through, you became a face to the to the Caucasian world, so to speak, okay, or the other communities, as a Sikh representative who was a little out of the box. Because ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ usually ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਦੋਂ Indians ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ Sikh community ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਨੇ, they're thinking on a professional level with people. They're not thinking as as cartoonists. But ਉਸਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ you also got approached through Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook approaching anyone in itself, that's like, all right, my career is off to the start or where I want it to be. So Facebook approached you for their diversity video, I believe, or they were doing something different for their ads.
Yeah, so they had launched Newsfeed last year or the year before, actually last year, but they had been planning for a while, right? So they launched Newsfeed, and so as part of that whole Newsfeed features, like feature, unfollow, things like that, they were looking for about 10 people who they would feature in their ads for specific features. So I got approached by somebody I had met at a comic festival a few years ago. So that was a connection.
Okay.
Another artist who also, I didn't know, happened to be a casting director.
Oh.
So she really liked my work, and she remembered me 2-3 years down the line and said, hey, by the way, I haven't spoken to you in a while, but love what you do. I'm a casting director, and Facebook is looking for, users, Facebook users who basically represent Facebook, as in their users globally. So would you like to audition? And I said, well, I've never done it, but there's no harm, I'll go in. So I went in the first time, did the first round, got selected, went to the second round. Initially, they said, okay, we're going to select you. Then 24 hours later, they said, sorry, our rules have changed. Something has changed. We're not going to, we're sorry, we're not going to call you. Then 24 hours later, they changed their mind again. I don't know what's going on behind the scene. They're like, look, we really want you. So
I go in,
spend a few hours at a comic book store in New York City where this was shot. And then the video actually went out first to users in Canada, last year. That went okay, and then it went out to users in the US. So there were like millions of timelines across the US that people were just watching it randomly pop up on their timeline. So yeah, it was quite an interesting opportunity. I mean, just to have, because we're not used to seeing Facebook ads, for that matter, a lot of ads that feature
Sikh people.
So yeah, I've met people who said, "Oh my God, yeah, I've seen it on Facebook." I'm like, "Yep, that's
you.
That's me." Yeah.
But let me ask you, उसदा जेड़ा तानू reaction मिलिया सीगा, क्योंकि I remember जदों तुहाडी news feed आई सीगी Facebook ते, we had even done a news coverage on it with you.
Yeah.
The response that you got, I mean, you know, हाले भी even today's day and age अंदर लोकां नू नहीं पता कि Sikh कौन ने, Muslim कौन ने, and what's the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of feedback, but it went both ways.
It did. I mean, majority of it kind of was okay. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was watched millions of times, but there were a few hundred people who were very vocal, very aggressive, and they said some horrible things. But it was interesting then other users were starting to engage them, saying, "Hey, wait a minute, this guy is not who you think he is." But I think in some ways, you know, I think it's fine. People want to speak their mind, that's okay. But, you know, here's the thing. I mean, that just inspires me to do what I want to do.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they think, you know, I'm going to get off their screens exactly the opposite. I'm going to create more art. I'm going to get on more there. So that's fine. I mean, that's how you confront intolerance, right?
Absolutely.
You use art. So I would say, yeah, there were a few vocal, unhappy people, and you know they'll just have to see more of me in different mediums.
But I think you've done a good job. Hun tak vi jinna vi tusi exposure like aaye ho to create awareness in different ways. You're not, you know, jede norms honde ne na. You've crossed all the norms and you've gone on the other side and done it. Which is good because you know what, good or bad, at least agar bad negativity भी आती हैगी, feedback भी आंदा हैगा, at least dialogue शुरू हो जाता है.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
how you respond to it, how you educate them further to let them know is different. You were featured all over. You know, Facebook itself is like God of all social media.
I mean, my motto now is, you know, just be open to anything. So you never know. I mean, Facebook, I never planned on it. Captain America, I never planned on it. I mean, some things that I've done were never planned on. I mean, even a cartoonist, it just kind of happened because 9/11 happened, hate crimes happened. So out of negative things, you know, these amazing sort of opportunities came. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the message I would have for everybody is, you know, be open to new opportunities. Don't set rules for yourself saying, okay, Sikhs cannot do modeling in the Western world. Why not? There are already people doing it.
Exactly.
So why not us? You know, and we can be on television. We can do anything we want to do.
So you have to be receptive to all of that.
Absolutely.
Great. You know what? I know it's time for a break. एक छोटा सा break का time हैगा. Break लेके वापस आके सुनने कि Captain America, how it has shaped you and America.
Sure.
ठीक है ना? आज एक छोटा सा break लेके हुने ही वापस आने. Stay tuned. Break to baad ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ. Today we're talking with Vishvajit Singh from Sikhtoons. Now let's talk about Captain America, okay? Because that I think is, you know, to put it in a way that everyone else puts it, कि ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ Captain America ਨੂੰ visualize ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, okay? First thing is we all have a certain persona for Captain America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, the big bulky body.
That's it. Yep. That's a stereotype.
Yes. That's it. And then we think of Vishvajit Singh as Captain America, and you've taken all those norms and broken them. So जिन्ने भी ऐसी perception होती सी कि Captain America, you broke all of that. Yeah. No blonde hair, no blue eyes. You have a beard, you have a turban, and as far as muscles, you look great. Yeah. But hey,
yeah, I don't have those.
So how did that come about? I mean, just thinking कि तुसी इस तरह दा कोई एक initiative लोगे. Didn't you feel like, what am I doing?
Yes, I did. So this came out, you know, this was a pure accident in life.
Yeah.
I was doing my thing as a cartoonist. I had my first art show in Lower West Side in Manhattan, 2009. Mm-hmm. And there was a photographer, Fiona Aboud, who at the time was actually working on a photography portrait essay, basically, a shoot, capturing Sikhs, doing whatever they do, right? Soldiers, families. Balbir Surdi's wife actually was part of that shoot. So she had approached me a year before, 2008, saying, hey, you know, I don't know any Sikh cartoonists, and I'd love to have you part of my photo essay. Like, sure, come on in. So she came to my art gallery, took some photos. She was just looking for that perfect moment, and it just wasn't happening. So what happened is, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ 2 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਇੱਕ ਜਲਸਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ. It's a comic Comic-Con, basically. One of the biggest in the world. Almost Lakbanda, 100,000 people come to the convention center here. I went there for the first time as an artist. I said, okay, I have to create a splash because there's thousands of artists. How am I going to get attention besides my looks? And you have animation studios who come there. I mean, so you're talking Nickelodeon, Warner Brothers. I mean, everybody's there. Marvel Comics is there. I mean, everybody. So small timers like myself and big shots. So that year, this is in October. So that year in the summer, the first Captain America movie comes out, and I'm thinking, you know what? Why is Captain America fighting, World War II enemies? It's, this is 21st century. We got to have Captain America fight intolerance, hate crimes. So in my head, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to create a Dastar wearing Dada, sporting Captain America, a little catchy caption. He's going to fight hate crimes. Created a poster, took it to the Comic-Con, and just had it for display. And people loved it. I mean, I was getting people giving thumbs up, taking photographs. People who didn't know who Sikhs are, majority of these people did not, but they just came up to me and said, this is interesting. What's going on? Who are you? Tell us about yourself. So just opened those doors. And then Fiona also came by because I invited her saying, hey, maybe there'll be good photo opportunities. So she was leaving the booth, my booth, and she goes in passing, maybe agle saal aake na, maybe next year, come in, wear Captain America uniform. And I said, no way. I said, no way, I'm not going to do it. I've never worn a costume. I'm a skinny guy, so I would never do it. So we forgot about it. She was pretty professional, did not bring up that whole point. We found some other sites. So she's still trying to photograph me, right? She wanted that perfect photograph.
कभी-कभी ऐसी सोचते हैं अपने comfort level अंदर, comfort zone अंदर, इन्ने totally bound up in there कि we don't think outside, okay? But when you do, it's a whole different world. And look how many opportunities it created for you. I am also going to talk about the movie, the little documentary, JD Hoi Sigi. So take a look at this documentary that was done about Captain America.
Where do you think I'm from?
3, 2, 1. Like that.
All right, get this hand down. Here we go. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, how was that now for you?
Yeah, so that kind of came out of...
But pehla maine aisa kadi movie banayi hai pehla?
No.
Besides the TV shows and stuff, I know we've done those.
I mean, I've done comedy, but this is different. No, so Sikh Lens Festival,
yes, I remember.
Based out of Southern California, they have a partnership with Chapman University. They have a film school, one of the top film schools.
Of course.
So they approached me after the Captain America thing's kind of becoming big. We would love to do a documentary about your cartooning work, Captain America work. And I was like, this is great. I'm humbled. I mean, I don't see myself as a celebrity or, for that matter, somebody who should be featured in a film. So I said, sure, I'll do it. So 3 young graduates from Chapman University, blonde guys, lovely guys, 3 guys, Matt, Ryan, Ben, they came to New York, spent 3 days with me in the city. And they came home, did all the audio at home, and then we literally walked out in the city for 2.5 days, in uniform, out of the uniform. And Ryan came up with the name Red, White, and Beard.
Okay.
So kind of made it a very American name. And it was amazing. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, what was going to happen, but it was going out again as Captain America was kind of interesting. People again looking at me, some people actually said, oh my God, I know you, I've seen you before in uniform. So the film actually got launched in January this year, and it's done really well.
Doing really well. I remember when it had premiered a couple of years ago, it was there.
Yeah.
But you know what, I think when I saw it, us to pehla main sunya siga uste bare ch, and I had seen the funny one that you had done, the funny clip that you had done.
Yeah.
Okay? But just, when you see it and then the realization hits you, would I do it? The question is, would I have the guts to do this? And it raises questions in your own mind ki is tarah to go out there. There are a lot of people that still hold grudges and barriers, obviously, and they don't want to look past a certain way.
Yeah.
But to see a step litta, and it could have gone either way. But look at the way it turned out. It's opened, I think, you've opened, जिस तरह लोग सिखां नूं देखदे हैगे, you've opened up a dialogue in a very beautiful way, in an entertaining way, that people look at you and they laugh, but at the same time, they want to know. They're curious. जो उस तरह भी curious होंगे, इस तरह भी होंगे, but you gave it a little, you relaxed the atmosphere for it.
It is. I mean, I didn't expect, so when I first did it, I'm like, oh my God, people love it. I mean, they're engaging with me. And yes, I mean, I hear from soldiers serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. I've heard from people all over the U.S., Texas, Alaska, saying, oh my God, this is great. I love your vision of Captain America. This is what Captain America is. In essence, it's a spirit, right? It's not necessarily what you look. It's basically what you do with your American sort of spirit, and your sort of, as being an American citizen, what do you do with it? So yeah, it's unimaginable. I mean, to this day, I hear from people from all walks of life. Just recently heard from a veteran, just about a week ago. He said, I saw your video, loved it. Just wanted to let you know what you're doing is great. So yeah, it's one of those things. It just, you don't dream it, and and then it happens, which is good, which is great. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm really glad I was able to bring you here today and share these moments with our viewers around the world. कि किस तरह तुसी एक perception नु, it's like an icebreaker really. तुसी Captain America da roop लाके ना सिखा दे लई, and for the community itself, you've changed the way people look at Sikhs.
Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure.
Thank you, and I would like to have you give a message to our viewers before we go.
Yes, so my message is simple. Be open to opportunities, find your passion in life, and don't let anybody tell you cannot do anything. And here's the big one. The road to success is paved with a lot of rejections, and that's okay. I get a lot of rejections. Trust me, I get more rejections than I get approvals. But at the end, you stick to it, you'll make it big.
You've done it. So thank you so much for it, and it's a pleasure having you here
Same
today.
Here.
As you can see, you know what? Kadi it helps to think outside the box. Take the vision a little bigger, because you never know. The biggest message that you'll ever give is when you're thinking different, as Vishvajit has done it. Uzinali, I hope you've enjoyed this episode with us, and tusi apna time cut ke saade naal aaj spend kita. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week again. Sat Sri Akal.